She is the adult child of an aging parent. She is a senior herself. She is the caregiver for her 106-year-old mother. And she is a spouse. Who is she? She is Valerie Van De Zilver, and she is a good friend of mine, and she is the host of Always Ageless, a weekly radio show and podcast that serves a vital resource for seniors, mature adults, and the children of aging parents. I am so excited to have Valerie on the show, so make sure you stay tuned, grab a cup of tea, and sit back and listen to this episode of Relax, I Got This, Embracing Life After 60. In today's world, older adults face major transitions like downsizing, relocating, or modifying their homes to age in place, all while embracing life after these changes. As a senior home advisor and seasoned realtor, Robin McCoy guides these decisions with care and thoughtful planning, helping create a vibrant future. Welcome to Relax, I Got This, Embracing Life After 60 with me, your host, Robin McCoy. Valerie, thank you so much for being on the show with me today. This has been a long time coming, and I am so excited to have you here today. So thank you.
You are so welcome. Thank you for having me. Yes, it's been a long time coming. We've watched each other's journeys a little bit and been friends from afar and up close. And so it's really great. I'm so honored that you chose to have me on your show.
Well, I'm excited to have this conversation. So for those that don't know, Valerie is also a senior home coach, and she is in Southern California. And so we met through the senior home coach movement. And so I've met her in person 2 or 3 times, twice in Wichita, and I think once in Safety Harbor. Were you in all three of those places? So, and I am just fascinated with you and your life, and you're the adult child of an aging parent. You're a senior yourself. You're a caregiver for your 105-year-old mother. If I got her age right?
No, 106.
Oh, came off a year. 106-year-old mother.
Yes.
And a spouse. Am I right?
I don't care for my spouse. He cares for me by just holding me together.
He cares for you. Okay.
I'm a baby. I'm also a baby boomer, so I'm pretty much covered all the.
So you are like all the things, and and not the least of which, you are a radio host and a real estate agent.
I am.
So you are one busy lady.
I am. Yes, I am. And that's the goal. That's what I love.
That's the goal. That's the goal. So, yeah, and tell me a little bit, just give me a little bit about your journey. You've been in real estate for a very long time, and, you're probably like me. All of a sudden, the older you got, the older your clients got and their parents got, and you realized that there was a whole other segment of the real estate world that needed some attention.
That's true. So I started in real estate when I was 21. Obviously, I'm not that anymore. So I honestly have been in real estate for 50 years. I don't tell anybody my Department of Real Estate number because nobody has a number as old as me. Now, what that means either is nobody's as old as me or nobody's dumb enough to keep working. I'm not sure which that is, or if it's both. But yes, I always have been in real estate my whole adult life. I grew up wanting to be a missionary nurse in Africa. And I think being in real estate is a lot of caregiving, just like being a nurse would be. It's a lot of taking care of your clients and making sure they feel safe and comfortable and defending them and being their advocate. And as my life changed, as I got older, what happened is that my parents got older, and my dad was sick. He never was all that healthy, but at a point in his life, he had to have surgery. They called me from the hospital and said, "We're going to discharge your dad this afternoon." I said, "Well, what are we going to do with him? My mom can't take care of him. What are we going to do?" And they said, "Well, he's going to be gone. We're going to discharge him anyway." So
not our problem.
Not our problem. So I said, "Come on, help me. You're Hoag Hospital in Newport Beach, right? Like, give me some suggestions." He said, "Well, you can go put him in a kind of a care facility." And I said, "Okay, so where are those?" And he gave me a couple of suggestions. And there happened to be one close to my mom and dad's house, so that's fine. So we took Dad there. It was a place where, I don't think rehab is the right word, but it's an after surgery kind of place where they go. And so they took care of his medication and got him up and walking and those kind of things. So then pretty soon they called me, and it was probably about 2 weeks. They called and said, "We need to get rid of your dad."
Okay,
I
come
said,
get him.
"Okay, this is twice." And I said, "Well, why?" Well, Medicare doesn't pay for him anymore. As Medicare pays a certain number of days, and that's it. Of course, I didn't know at that time, and I didn't have any warning. So I said, "So now what am I supposed to do?" "I don't know. We don't know." So I called
Not
a
our
friend of
problem.
mine who was also a real estate agent, and I managed her home because she'd gone through this kind of a journey with her dad. And I called her and I said, "Okay, Tammy, what did you do?" She said, "Call Donalyn." I said, "Okay." So I called Donalyn. Donalyn says, "Well, I'm on maternity leave, but call Dave." Dave has true story. Dave has 5 houses. So I called Dave and I said, "Donalyn says you have 5 houses. I have no idea what to do." So I learned about individual care homes. So I went around and looked at Dave's 5 houses and looked at other homes, which was very interesting because some of them were really beautiful. I have to say, they all certainly weren't the same quality, but I got a quick education on the costs, the different options, 1 room versus 2 rooms, all of those things. So we put Dad in and we found a place close to his house where there was a room that was close to the front door. So we thought it was easy. And we all looked at the price, and I called my brothers and sisters and said, "You guys, this is okay, but if Dad lives a long time, we're in trouble."
Yeah.
So, because my parents didn't have a lot of money. My dad was a plumber. They just lived off Social Security and owned a mobile home. So, and make a long story short, Dad died in 6 weeks. So
Oh,
we
wow.
didn't have a financial burden, although that wasn't really didn't make us happy because we loved our
Yeah.
dad. So at any rate, at that point in time, then I thought there must be other kids who are going through this same journey. I can't be the only one calling myself a kid, so that was now 8 years ago. So then my mom and dad had a man named Lynn, and Lynn got sick. So Lynn's daughter called me and said, "What did you do?" I said, "Call Dave." We sent Lynn to one of Dave's houses. Same thing. And again, we had this conversation. We can't be the only kids that are going
Can't be
through
the only
this.
one.
So it occurred to me that there was a big gap there in information. And of course, when we were at the care community, then there was a girl sitting on the outside at a bench and said, "Oh, I think I met you at church once. What are you looking for?" I said, "Oh, we just got the bad news. We've got to move my dad from here." "Oh, I can help you. I think I know you from church." I said, "I don't think so." So she was a Donalyn, right? And she just sat outside there and tried to pick up customers. She was a placement agent, now that we refer to them as that. So at any rate,
Yes.
make a long story short, I became aware of the fact that we weren't the only kids. And even though I would have been considered a senior, I have parents who are much older. So I felt this need to help people and to be a resource. And that was really, although I think I always had wanted to help people. When I was a very little girl, Robin, my mom went to another really old lady's house on Saturday and shampooed her hair, and she put bluing in it. Do you know what bluing is?
I do.
Yeah.
My
So
mom used to go to the hair salon every weekend, and we'd sit there, and there were women getting bluing put into their
yeah, yeah. So for our
hair.
listeners and viewers who don't know, bluing makes your hair white. Right?
Hmm.
So we went to Grandma Van Dusen. She wasn't my grandma on Saturday afternoons, and Mom put bluing in her hair and shampooed her hair. So I'd always been around older people, and I always had a heart, and wanted to be a nurse, and I just was a natural segue for me. But going through this journey with my dad was certainly important, and then with their friends, and then with other people, and I just, as you and I know, we just see this huge gap where people
Huge
don't
gap.
have the resource, and in many cases, it's a matter of, well, we're going to help people because we get paid. And that isn't our heart.
Yeah.
You and I don't have that
No.
heart. Our heart is to be a resource and help people because that's what our passion is. So that's the person that I want to be.
Well, and I think you are that person, and you're right. Most of the people that are doing kind of the things that we do are because they went through it and just what you said. I can't be the only kid. If I don't know, and as real estate agents, we tend to have a lot of resources and know how to, find that. I mean, you called this person who called this person who called, right? We've got a daisy chain of resources.
Yes.
And even then we didn't know what to do,
No, no. And the
right?
thing
And
that's
not
different,
everybody has that.
no, and what I keep saying, and my new thing is that I think there's two groups, Robin. I think there are the older adults who we would call seniors, and I don't consider myself a senior, but with by my age, I certainly am one. And so there's the seniors, and then there's the adult children of aging parents who are still taking care of our parents. So we're
Yeah.
older ourselves, and people classify us, oh, if you're over 50, you're a senior, and you all of a sudden, blah, 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 right? So then we have our parents, and then we have us. And I think that there's a big gap of a need for people ministering, so to speak, to us, right? Because everybody talks about the older person,
Yeah.
but we have needs too.
We do. And that's and I think that's part of, so you've got of your radio show, right? And you have this show. Tell us how you got the show, because I'm trying to jump ahead, and I don't want to jump ahead.
No, that's okay.
So
Great
tell.
story, and actually, it's timely because the person who actually has inspired me has passed away, and his birthday was yesterday. So happy birthday, Jay.
Happy
Jay
happy
Kaplan.
birthday.
Absolutely. So my friend, I've been also in the mortgage business. At one point in time, I worked for a man named Jay Kaplan. Jay eventually went into reverse mortgages. That was his focus, and started a radio show called The Educated Retirement. And he had a radio show for several years, and he would have me as a guest on his show. And I used to ask him, Jay, do you make any money at this? Nah, I said, I don't make any money, but I love doing it, and I build relationships with my guests. And I probably was a guest on his show every couple of months, which I loved doing. And he always said, oh, everybody loves you. Everybody loves you as our guest. My wife loves you. The radio station loves you. Well, one day Jay passed away. And what I should have done, Robin, the first thing I should have done is called the radio station, asked for his spot. And I didn't think about it because I'm more worried about Jay and his family, his wife.
Sure.
So one day I was on the call with Catherine Ambrose, our mentor. Mm-hmm. And Catherine made the comment that day. And really it was new because Catherine, we haven't been on, the senior call really is about 2.5, maybe almost 3 years. And my radio show is about to be 2 years old. So she had just started her call. And one morning she said, get out there, go do something, start a radio show, start a podcast, do something. And about 2 hours later, the radio station called me and said, we were just talking about you at lunch. Everybody loved having you as a guest on Jay's show. Wouldn't you like to have your own show? I said, well, that's strange. But what would I talk about? Because really all I knew was real estate. And they've got a guy who has a show Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock. So I couldn't compete with him. Couldn't just have a regular radio show about real estate. And I had just heard Catherine say on this call, go start a radio show. And I said, okay, I'll do it. I said, but can I have 2 weeks before I have to start? So I have no idea what I'm going to do. So they said, well, do you have a title? I said, no.
So you got to give me 30
no
minutes to come up with a title and 2 weeks to figure out a plan.
Exactly. So I've always felt that people always ask me my age, especially my peer group in real estate. I'd be at a mastermind or at a conference. People say, how old are you? At which point I always say, well, how old do you think I am? And I always felt, Robin, because I think I do look younger than I am. And I always felt that if people knew my age, they would feel differently about me.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They
and
would.
I didn't want people to know how old I was because I didn't want to be discriminated against or felt.
Yeah, you didn't want to be
differently or left out
classified
of
as
groups.
anything.
Right, or left out of groups. So, and then I had a mom who at that point mom was what, 102, 103.
That's crazy.
So I got the idea to come up with the name of Always Ageless and talk about my work is working with seniors and my journey with my parents and my mom, although I had no idea my mom was still going to be alive. So I
Sure.
came up with the name of Always Ageless. And that's really important to me because I want to always be ageless. I want to encourage everyone to be ageless. I don't like people being treated like they're older. I don't like people asking how old you are unless it's out of admiration. And many times we do. We tell really you don't look your age, or you look wonderful, or I love that you're doing those things. And we, in our house, we just expect, my husband thinks we should live to be 120. And we just think that there's a lot of life to live. And being always ageless is really my passion.
I just think
And
it's,
so now we're going further with that. So my radio show,
yeah.
we're about to celebrate our 2-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
Out to have our 100th episode.
Wow.
When I first started my show,
Congratulations.
Robin, I took out a yellow pad of paper and I numbered from 1 to 52 because I thought, I wonder if I can really do this for a year. I had no idea what I would do. So I started from 1 to 52. And then I listened to a podcast from another young lady, and she was being celebrated. Someone was interviewing her and said, "Can you believe this is your 100th episode?" And I said, "Oh, 100, that's a long time." So we're about to celebrate our 100th episode. Yeah. Yeah.
That's incredible. That's incredible. And I think this goes to that always ageless idea that what you said is you don't want to tell people your age because you don't want to be classified or discriminated against or put in some sort of just whatever that box is that people want to put you in, whether you're 50, 60, 70, 80, or 90. My bonus mom says, she's in her 80s, and she says, we turn invisible. We get invisible. People stop seeing us. And I think the fact that you're out there doing a radio show, talking about, we just have a life to live. There's that book, Age Not, or Stage Not Age.
Age Not
right?
Age, absolutely. Yep, absolutely. I love that book.
And I just think that that's what this is all about. And, age, what is it? You close your episodes with age is just a number, but living fully is forever.
Yes. Yes.
Tell me about that.
You can't choose your age, but you can choose the way you live it.
Yeah.
And that is so important to me. And I'm so determined that we will be, my husband and I will be a perfect example of being ageless, that things just won't be in our way. And the great thing is, it's kind of off the subject a little bit, but the great thing is that now there's opportunities. Well, there are and there aren't. So for example, now we could go places and we could work and we could do things that they won't say, well, you can't do it because you're 65 or whatever. Although I saw yesterday there's a lawsuit, which I'm going to do a podcast on, or a program on today, about a large financial firm who terminated somebody because he was 64. Gave him 24 hours to leave. And when he didn't leave in 24 hours, they terminated. He managed $1 billion a year in assets. And so, of course, now he's suing them. But
Sure.
We think that there's so many opportunities that now you can't be discriminated against. People can work. You can be 100 years old and still be a greeter at Walmart. Right? And why not? If you want to and you like being out and talking to people, go be a greeter at Walmart. Be a greeter at the hospital. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think, and I was talking to a friend of mine just today, and we were talking about how for so long people were just assuming that once you retired, 65, because that's what they told you, you retire at 65, that then you're just kind of done. And you got classified as this older person or this old person or a grandma or a grandpa, and that's what you were, whether you wanted to be or not, whether that's what you wanted or not. And I think you are proving, and with your show, that that's not the case, or doesn't have to be the case.
No, a long time ago, I was someplace and I heard the quote, don't die with the music still inside you.
Mm.
And I just love that.
Mm.
Don't die. Don't let your life end with the music still inside. If you have music inside of you, get it out. Whether it's just walking every day, whether it's being a good neighbor, whatever it is, let the music
Yeah.
out. And then I heard another quote just yesterday that someone asked a movie star, so what's your secret to living older? And he said, just don't let the old man in. So
I
my
saw
mom
that the
said,
other day
yeah,
too.
yeah, did you? Yeah, my mom says,
Yeah.
just don't think about being old. And so we don't. What is that? And of course, you just talked about retiring, but why do we have to retire? And
Exactly.
anyway, what is 65? What is 65? It's a number we have assigned to the
Mm-hmm.
public, to this demographic, and and getting me started here. And another point, though, Robin, we talked about the other morning on our call is that what is that age? So now that people are living longer,
Mm-hmm.
we say, okay, when you're 50, I saw this morning 4 programs about older adults, and they all said life after 50. 50, really? 50?
50? That's older?
50? Or even
You've got another
70?
50 years to live.
Of course, of course. And we put everybody in that category. So, okay, this happens to your brain when you're older and over 50 or even over 60. Well, why are we all one category? You're
Right.
born and then you're 2, then you're 5, then you're a teenager, then you all. Why, once we're a certain age, are we all in the same category?
We're
And
all lumped together that we're all going to be retired and your brain is going to start to deteriorate and your bones are going to get weaker and none of that has to be
has,
true.
no, doesn't have to be the case at all. Not at all. So that's my journey, my passion, my my strongest desire, is to just prove everybody that they're wrong. And my mom does a
I love
great
that.
job of it. She's 106, be 106 and a half in April,
Wow.
and was always independent until just 2 months ago. She moved into an assisted living community, which she doesn't like very well because she wants to be independent again. She was married to my dad for 78 years. And when he
Wow.
passed away, we thought she'll never live without him. But
Yeah,
she did. He's been gone
she
for 8
did.
years,
So she was living it on her own up until a few months ago.
up until a couple months ago. She was.
Wow.
She was.
106. I mean, that gives you, I would imagine because when we look at our parents or our grandparents and we see what their longevity is or what that looks like, that must just give you, I mean, if you're anything like your mom, you've still got, I mean, how long is she gonna, she's gonna keep going.
Well, that's
And
another
that tells
subject.
you, right? It tells me that you've got that kind of longevity in you.
That's certainly true. And it's important that we think about that because one of the things we need to talk about as a society is exactly we talk about, okay, so what we need to plan, right? We need to plan. And I was in a call the other morning where, okay, people should be planning. Okay, well, that's great. But who's talking about outliving your money?
We Are One Heart is a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to bridging the gap between the needs and resources of low income seniors and veterans. Rooted in compassion and love, our mission is to provide housing, living assistance, and access to critical resources that ensure dignity and support for the elderly and underserved communities. At the heart of We Are One Heart's work is the belief that every individual shares a common humanity, a heart connected through love and care. We are committed to creating a future that honors those who have shaped the past by offering programs and services that enhance their quality of life. For more information or to donate, visit wa1h.org. That's WA, the number 1H.org.
All right. So we can have money. We save money. We have a house, whatever, and we have X amount of dollars. But my mom isn't going anywhere. And we don't have unlimited money forever. So
Right.
how do we plan, Robin? And when we talk to people, you need to plan for the future. We all do, that's true. But how do you plan for something you don't know the outcome? You
Right.
don't know when that's going to be. You don't know if you're going to get sick. You don't know whether you're going to get some form of dementia. You don't know if you're going to live to be 110. And that, I think, is a real challenge with aging.
I
It's a
think it
challenge for
very,
our families, for us kids.
yes, it is. And, it's, I was reading something and we plan when we're younger, we plan where we're going to go to college. And we plan that we'll get married and we plan that first the family. And then we say, okay, these kids are going to go to this school and they're going to go be doctor. And, so we plan all the way up until we're like 60. And
Yeah.
then somehow it stops. We retire. We hope we saved enough money and we stop talking about it. We stop talking about things that you can do to continue to, whether it's working or investing, right? Just because you're 65 doesn't mean you can't invest your money in real estate or something else. We start saying we have to hold our money instead of trying to make more. It's we stop talking about it.
Yeah. And we don't talk about our second careers either.
No.
Right.
No.
What do we want to do? And being always ageless is, what else would you like to do? We all must have had something that we always wanted to do. I always wanted to be a gardener. Somebody said to me, believe it or not, he said, I always wanted to be a swim coach. And after, when she got older and stopped working at whatever her regular job was, she started a swim school. So what was your wildest dream? What did you want to do? I probably won't be a nurse in Africa, but certainly there's other opportunities to serve people. Serving seniors is going to be my nursing mission, I think.
There you well, and it's, I think a lot of times that, as we get older and we start thinking about things, and I think sometimes this comes from almost a grief process of who we used to be. I was a teacher, I was a doctor, I was a lawyer, I was an engineer, all those things. So it's that, because I retired, now I'm not that, but it's also a grief of what I thought I was going to be. I thought I was going to be a swim coach. I thought I was going to be a nurse. And so sometimes it's also letting that go, and you don't have to let it go.
Yeah.
Maybe you open a swim school.
Sure. And it's interesting because my husband is close to my age. 6 months he'll be my age, and their company is merging with another company, and so they were each told, you need to decide what it is about you that you're going to present to the new company that makes you unique. What is it about your work that makes you different than everybody else? And so I said to Peter, so what are you going to say? He said, oh, I'm the AI guy. So here he is, the oldest person on the team by years. Some people are less than half his age. And he's going to set himself aside as being the expert on artificial intelligence. I said, good for you.
Good for
Good
you.
for you. He stays up at night and he listens to classes in Europe or in India and learns from there and from other ways. And so
That's incredible.
again, back to always ageless, there's just no limits, and we don't need to allow there to be.
No, there's not. And I think we've been told historically that, like I said, you retire and, I've had people tell me when I do classes, well, I just feel kind of useless now.
Oh,
And that breaks my heart because they've got another 30, 40 years that they could likely be alive and on this planet. And they have such knowledge and continue to learn, and yet they feel that way. So, I think we as a society, as you mentioned, can do better. and I think your show proves that.
We certainly hope so. We certainly hope. We've interviewed some great people. Paul McCartney's mom was one of our guests. And I say that not for his name, but she's 96 years old and has a podcast every single Tuesday afternoon. And she applied with Guinness World Book of Records to be the oldest active ongoing podcast.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, you've had some really, who are some other cool guests? Who are some, like you said, Paul McCartney's mother. Who else has stood out in your mind?
I interviewed a lady who is in Florida who started writing comedy plays about seniors, about older adults, when she was like 76 or 77. I interviewed a couple who moved to Arizona in their late 60s, which isn't that old now. And she was a part-time agent. He was not at all. And they teamed up, and now they're one of the top agents in their area. And they did it all by doing videos. Neither of them had ever done videos. They started doing videos of their neighborhood and where they live. And now they're one of the top teams in their area. So they were important to me. I just interviewed a gentleman whose name is Marty Schreiber. You should have him on your show. He wrote a book called My Two Elaines. He was the governor of Wisconsin, and his two Elaines he's 84. One of them is the Elaine he met when he was 14 in Latin class, and the other Elaine is the one who had Alzheimer's, and the journey they had together was one of the most touching episodes I've ever had, and was just a great story. Again, here he is, 84 years old, and talking about how he wants to be an influence to other people and help them go through this journey and see it from the side of the other person as well. Yeah. When he was writing this book, 3 weeks before publication, he found his wife's journal, and she had been writing in a journal about her journey, and he didn't know it.
So she was writing about her experience with Alzheimer's as it was happening. And for the
first time ever, he realized he was able to read it and become aware of her feelings.
Oh, man.
And so he stopped the press and wrote.
That got me.
It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful story. So he's older, and my goal is to find other people who are find people who are older. And I'm starting a new group called Agelesspreneurs.
Oh.
So people are older and starting their businesses in their older
I love
years.
that. I love that because, again, so often we think it's too late for me. Right. It's too late. I'm too old. I'm too old to start something new. I'm too old to learn something new. Who's going to listen to me? And it's just not true.
No.
It's just not true.
And what's important for us to realize is that so many people in our population are growing older that there's going to be more of us than there are of the younger groups. In our area, certainly we go out, we don't see families with big couples with big families and babies all over. We see older people. And that's, as you well know, that's going to be our population. And so we need to, again, stage, not age, all these books we've read. It's not about all of a sudden we need to just learn about people who are over 50. And we need to start incorporating people who are 70, 80, 90, and 100 in our world, in our workplaces, in our lives, in our restaurants, in our transportation, in our housing, so many things. Because there's going to be more of us alive, just the facts.
Yeah. I mean, that's just, you can see it trending. I mean, it just is. It's just facts. It's data. It's so you can, there's no denying it. And, I think people are now looking at that older generation, and recognizing that they do have knowledge, and they don't have the maybe the fear anymore. Once you decide, I'm going to, yes, I'm 70 and I'm going to go open my swim school, whatever, whatever that is. we have more knowledge. We know more how to do it, right? We have, I think, more resources because we know more people,
Well, and the banks
right?
don't discriminate against you, right?
Yeah.
Credit cards don't discriminate. You can't, there's no age discrimination on driving, right? They don't take your keys away from you just because you turned
Yeah.
65. So there are so many opportunities. And if nothing else, people can start a podcast. If they do gardening or whatever it is they do that they do really well or that they really enjoy, whether it's a certain kind of music or a certain kind of art or whatever it is, just talk about it.
Talk about it. You can now, there's so many things that can be done online to the world,
Yeah.
right? And, there's the platforms like School and some of these others where maybe it is gardening and you want to talk about how you love succulents. And so now let's talk about growing succulents or violets or whatever those things are. And now you have a platform for it. And I just think I think now more than ever, we have the greatest opportunity for those of us that are going to continue. I said to somebody the other day, I'm 62. I could have a good 30, 40 years left in me.
Oh my gosh, you do. Sure. Sure.
I can't just stop now. And I'm finally looking at the things that I want to continue to do for the next 30 or 40 years.
There's a couple of ladies in New York who were friends as legal secretaries. And they both retired at about the same time and called each other and said, "So now what are we going to do?" And they did research for fun and realized that they probably have at least 30 years left in their life. They said, "So what do we do now?" So they started a Facebook group. They have masterminds. They have trips that they go on together. They've organized this group of people who are kind of in their age group. And there's so many things that are happening. But, we still have this stigma about being old. And I said to my husband, please don't die, because if you die, I'm going to have to marry an old man. Because that's how old I am. Right?
I don't want to marry an old dude.
I don't want to marry an old man. I just, you just don't think of that. So yeah, we have a long way to go as far as the way we think about this and the way we behave and the fun we should have. And we just put people in these categories like, okay, everybody's going to do something. Okay, we have to put them in a bus, right? And we have to do
Right.
certain things, and we have to treat them this way. And certainly some of them we do, but a lot of them we don't. So we have a long way to go as a society, as a population. And there's lots of opportunities still to have fun.
Yeah, there are. Well, if there's one thing that you could say to the world out there today that maybe we didn't touch on today, what would be the gem you want to drop on people?
The thing we didn't talk about much is as the adult children of aging parents, what can we do and what should we do to make our parents' lives easier, to help them be realistic with the stage that they're facing, and to realize it's just another stage. It's not don't
Yeah.
think of it as the end of your life. It's just another stage. We moved, we downsized, we got rid of so much stuff. But we said to each other, well, we still have our memories. Nobody can take our memories away. Think of the people in Los Angeles who had a fire. All of their things
Yeah.
are gone, but they still have their memories.
Yeah.
So when you are the adult child of an aging parent, it is not easy. It's not easy. My mom, I don't know how long my mom's going to live. And making plans for somebody's 65 or 75 or 85 and thinking that you're going to plan for 3 or 4 or 5 years. You can't. I don't know how long my mom's going to live. We don't know what to do with her. And not in a bad way, but it's
Yeah.
a challenge. So we need to support each other as the adult children of aging parents. We need to be aware of the challenges that they have. We can't just put them in assisted living homes. We don't put them anywhere.
Right.
And my other, having just recently gone through it, Robin, helping them choose an assisted living community is another project that we should talk about, because they're not all the same. not at
No.
all the same.
And
And I
what you
discovered that.
think somebody might be good for somebody, they may not like it, right? You can say, but mom, they've got A, B, C, and D, and look, the room faces the green belt and, whatever. But maybe mom doesn't want that. Maybe mom would rather be at this place that has these activities, or the room faces that direction. And so not only involving your aging parent in the decision, but also starting soon enough that when the time should come, we've narrowed down to where they would want to be and where they want to move to. And like you said, it's not where they want us to put them. We don't put people anywhere. They're not objects.
No. And having to make decisions when they just don't want to, when they just dig their heels in and say, I'm not going
Yeah.
to, and you're forced to making a decision for them. It is not easy. So, I will just say one other thing is that if you're going to go through this journey and you have someone help you in finding the right assisted living or memory care or care community, who you have represent you matters. Because there are
It
people
does.
who do it for their own financial gain, and there are people who care more about you as their client than they do about their financial gain. And those are the people you are looking for. And it's not always the big box companies that advertise on TV
No.
or radio
Most
or the
often it's
internet.
not.
We have a local representative. No, 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 no. You want someone who cares about you and your family. So whether it's always aging, whether it's help them finding the right place to live, or whether they stay in their own home and how they improve their home so that they can stay there and age in place, all of those things, it's important that you choose someone who really cares about you, not their own benefit.
There it is.
There it is.
The mic
And
drop.
stay always ageless.
And stay always ageless. I love it. Well, you are the poster child for always ageless. That's for that is for sure. So, Valerie, thank you so much for taking your time this morning to hang out with me here on the show.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you again
Absolutely.
soon in person as well.
That for sure, for sure. And thank you for tuning in to another episode of Relax, I Got This, Embracing Life After 60. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and share this with all your friends because, y'all, this is good information. And we'll see you next time on Relax, I Got This, Embracing Life After 60. Bye. Thank you for joining me on Relax, I Got This, Embracing Life After 60. I know that time is our greatest asset, and I appreciate the time that you spend with me. If you're finding the information on this podcast useful, please subscribe to the channel on your favorite platform so that you never miss another episode. Don't forget to go to our website where you will find additional resources, downloads, and coaching programs. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Relax, I Got This, Embracing Life After 60.